Students, welcome again to the course of Introduction to Economics. I'm your course instructor Shehzad Khan Durrani, lecturer, Institute of Business Studies, Cohort University of Science and Technology, Hangur campus. This is our lecture number 13 and our topic for today's lecture is factors of production. So our outline, it includes factors of production. This is our main topic, and inside the factors of production we will discuss the primary factors, then we will talk about the secondary factors that we have of the factors of production, and then we will discuss the classical economic views about the factors of production. And at the end, we will also talk about the new classical approach or the new classical economics view of the factors of production, right? So this is our outline for our today's lecture. So we will start from the basic concept of the factors of production. So we will start from the basic concepts of the factors of production. Factors of productions are the resources, right? Or they are the inputs that you are giving it to your systems, and these inputs are what is used in the production process. So these resources or these inputs are further used in the production process for what? To get the output, to produce the output from the factors of production. So factors of productions are actually the resources or the inputs, right, that we are putting it into the production process to get the output. So there are two kinds of output that we are getting from the factors of production. One is the finished goods, right? Or it can be the services as well, right? So the output that you are looking from the factors of productions, the resources that you are providing, right? So you are looking for the finished goods or the services. Now we will try to understand the basic concept of the production function, right? So production function is actually the utilized amounts of the various inputs, right? The various inputs, the various resources that you are providing it. So it's the utilized amount, right? To determine the quantity of output, right? So you are trying to determine the quantity of output, how much of the resources will give me how much of the output, right? According to the relationship called the production function, right? So that relationship is called the production function. So production function is actually the relationship, right, between the quantity of output, right, and the utilized amount of various inputs. So the relationship between them is called the production function. The factors, the primary factors and the secondary factors of the factors of production. So let's start from the primary factors. So there are two types of factors of the factors of production, and they are, the first one, they are called the primary factors, right? So primary factors are, and the secondary factors, the second one, the second type. Now we will try to explain each one of them. So first of all, we will start from the primary factors. So primary factors, the primary factors are land, labor, and capital. So these three, for example, they are called the factors of production. So they are called the primary factors, right? So factors of production is distributed or divided into two. One is called the primary factors, that includes land, labor, and capital. So if someone asks you what are some of the factors of production, so your answer will be land, labor, and capital, right? Primary factors actually facilitate production. If you look, land, it's actually facilitating your production, right? labor, they are actually facilitating your production process, and of course the capital, but neither becomes part of the product, neither one of them, not the lane, not the labor, not the capital, it's not the part of the. So what does it mean, neither the part of the, it means that they are not working as a raw material. These are not, let's say you are producing milk, right? So you need a place for it, like a factory, right? You need labors, of course, you need some capital, right? But like for example the plastic or the boxes that you require, these are, like for example, these are the raw materials, right? So that's why lane, labor and capital are neither the part of the product, but actually it facilitates the production process, and nor become significantly transformed by the production process, right? So it's not actually importantly or significantly transformed by the production process. What does it mean? So the example is, there is the fuel used to power machinery, right? So the fuel is actually the facilitating the machine, it's actually giving power to the machinery, so significantly transformed by the production process, right? So it's not actually transforming the production process, but it's actually acting as a facilitator. It's neither the part nor it transforms the production process, right? So these are called the primary factors, and they are land, labor and capital. The next factor of production is the secondary factors we have, right? So materials and energy are considered secondary factors. So for example, land, labor, capital, these are the primary, while materials and energy are considered secondary factors in classical economics view or approach, because they are obtained from land, labor and capital, right? So they are obtained from the primary factors, the materials for example, and the energy, right? So another factor of production, entrepreneurship, is also sometimes considered as a factor of production, right? So it's also called one of the factors of production, or you can call it the secondary factor of production. So why I say it sometimes, because some views like the classical economics, it's not considering entrepreneurship as a factor of production. According to a classical economic view, only land, labor and capital are the factor of production. But according to the new classical approach, entrepreneurship is also the factor of production, right? That actually facilitates the production process. So sometimes the overall state of technology, another factor of production, the secondary one, right? So for example, the overall state of technology is described as a factor of production, right? So your new technology or the overall state of technology is also considered as the factor of production. The number and definition of factors vary, right? So this actually varies, right, depending on the theoretical purpose, depends on the theoretical purpose of it, right? The empirical emphasis, the quantitative analysis, or school of economics, right? There are different school of thoughts or different school of economics that's actually say that this is actually the primary factor of production and this is the secondary factor of production. So it depends on that. Move to the classical economics view of the factors of production. Classical economic view of the factors of production, the classical economics of Adam Smith, David Ricardo and their followers focus on physical resources, right? So a classical economics actually focus on the physical resources in defining its factors of production. So what are those physical resources? Land, labor, capital, organization. It also discusses the distribution of cost, right, and value among these factors. So the distribution of cost, how much for example labor will cost you, how much machinery will cost you, how much land will cost you, and value among these factors, and which one value high, for example, which one is of greater importance, for example, which one to be considered is more important than the other, right? So Adam Smith and David Ricardo referred to as the components of the price. They called it, for example, that these are the components of the price because it's a fact the price is the costs of using, for example, right? So it depends on the price, actually it impact the price, right, of your finished goods. So that's why it's the component parts of the price. So, according to the classical economic view, the first one of the factors of production is the land or natural resources, right? This is called the factor of production. So, it defined land as a naturally occurring goods like water, air, soil, minerals, flora, fauna, the plants, for example, and climate, of course, that are used in the creation of products. So when you are creating products, actually you need all of them. It's also present in the environment, right? In the climate. So land is not only the physical surface that exists, right? The land also includes all those minerals, all those water, soil, etc. So that's actually used in the creation of the product. The payment given to a land owner is rent, for example, the payment for loyalties, commission, and goodwill, like for example the tangible and the intangible, for example. It's also become, according to the classical economic view, it's the part of the land or the natural resources, and it's one of the factor of production. When we were talking about, like, there are three factors of production, we said, like land, labor, capital. So this was according to the definition of the classical economic view. Land is defined as a naturally occurring goods like water, soil, and minerals, right? Now we will move to another labor, another factor of production. So we will define labor according to the classical economic views, right? So human efforts used in production. So humans are providing their efforts with the labors, which also includes technical and marketing expertise. So some labor, they have some technical expertise, some labor can have some marketing expertise, that they are, for example, providing those skills, those technical expertise to the production process. So that's why labor is part of the production, right? And it's called the factor of the production. So the payment for someone else's labor, you are also sometimes paying for someone else's labor that is working in your, for example, they're actually helping you in the production process, and all income received from one's own labor is wages, right? So for example, the payment that you are providing it to the labor, the wages, for example, it's also the part of the income. Later, for example, you are deducting it from the income as an expense, right? So labor can also be classified as the physical, right? So the physical, like the part that they are that they have, for example, working with hands, or like carrying the machinery, carrying the stuff from one place to another. There are labors, physical and mental contribution, some technical work, for example, they are doing it, right? For example, so they are using their brain power, right? So they have the contribution as well, like the mental contribution of an employee to the production of the goods, right? So the labor actually contributes in two ways. One is the physical and the other one is the mental contribution, right? So both of them actually include in the factors of production, and that's called labor, the factor of production. Another one, we have the capital stock, right? We are defining it as according to the classical economic views, right? So far we discussed land and labor. Now we are discussing the third word, the third one, which is the capital stock, right? So capital stock, human-made goods which are used in the production of other goods, right? So human-made goods, for example, which are used in the production of other goods. So for example, machinery is actually human made good, right, which is used in the production of other goods, which actually helps you in the production of other goods, right? So that's actually called capital stock, or you can simply call it capital. We have like the fixed capital, right? So you can call it the building, the machinery, right? So this include machinery, the various kinds of machinery, the various kind of tools, for example, that you are using that actually helps you or use in the production of other goods, and buildings, of course, and the buildings. So they are called the capital, right? Because capital actually helps you in your production process. So these are two types. The fixed one, fixed capital, you can call it, right? We have of two types of the capital. Fixed are one-time investment like machines and tools. It's just like one-time investment. For example, you bought a building, so it's just one-time investment. You bought a machinery, right? Then you are just doing, for example, the machine is actually depreciating, or for example, like some repairing work can occur in your machinery, or different kinds of tools that actually exist to help you in your production process. So they are called the fixed capital. Then another one is the working capital, right? So the working capital actually consists of liquid cash that you have, right? That you can easily convert it into cash, right? The liquid or money in hand, or for example, you have some savings, you have some money in your hand, and the raw materials, for example, that actually helps you in the production process, or you are using it in the production process, right? So these all things like the working capital and the fixed capital, these are the types of the capital, and it comes in the factors of production that we are calling it capital. So we discussed three: land, labor, and capital. And according to classical economic views, these are called the factors of production. Approach, which is called the new classical economic view of the factors of production, right? So let's see what they are focusing, the new classical economic views, right? So let's see, the new classical economics views actually further extend the capital concept, right? Like according to the classical approach, it was just like the fixed capital and the working capital, like the definition was like quite restricted, right, or quite limited. But according to the new classical economic views, there are various angles of the capital, right? Capital can come from various angles and help the production process, right? So what are they? We will try to highlight those. So this has many meanings. The capital has many meanings according to the new classical economic view, including the financial capital. So your financial capital raised, right? You are raising the financial capital to operate and expand the business. So it actually helps you to expand the business. When, for example, there are various stages when you are, for example, doing your business, or let's say you have a new venture, right? So there are various stages of it. There is a stage that's called the growth stage, right? That you are growing. Then, for example, you are trying to open your new franchises, your new branches. Then you need also a capital, right? And that's actually helps you in the production process. So that's called the financial capital, raised to operate and expand the business, and it's actually help you to expand your business, right? So capital means goods that can help produce other goods in the future. It actually helps you to produce other goods in the future. So financial capital, or the capital, actually means that helps you to produce other goods, as we already discussed. Like the machinery helps you to produce other goods, for example, right? The building that you have, the various tools that you have, the result of the investment that you are making. So it's a one-time investment that you are making, right? Then it helps you to produce other goods, right, for your future. So it refers to machines, all the machines that you have, roads, for example, factories, schools, infrastructure, and office buildings which humans have produced to create goods and services. So for example, let's say the motorway, it's one-time investment, but then it's, for example, it helps you to produce cash, let's say, right? So the roads, the machinery, for example, right? The factories that actually exist, the buildings that they have, right? So these are all the examples of the humans have produced them, and they actually help them to create goods and services, other goods and services. Then fixed capital, there are three types according to the new classical economic view. One is the fixed capital, one is the working capital, and the other one is the financial capital. So it means there is an increase of one type, which is the financial capital, according to the new classical economic view of the factors of production. Now we will move to another factor of production, right? According to the new classical economic view. So it means that there are four types of factors of production: land, labor, capital, and the fourth one is the entrepreneurship, right? Which is defined by the new classical economic view, right? And it says that entrepreneurship in markets, entrepreneurs combine the other factors of production. So entrepreneurs actually helps you to combine other factors of production: land, labor, and capital, right? So for example, they actually helps you to combine all of them to make a profit. So who will be responsible for all of them, right? So it is the entrepreneur who is responsible, right? The owner. So often these entrepreneurs are innovators, so they are called innovators, developing new ways to produce new products, right? To produce new products, right? So they actually helps you to produce new products, right? The entrepreneurs. In a plant economy, central planners decide how land, labor, and capital should be used to provide for maximum benefit of all citizens, right? So it's actually, for example, you need a planning, you need a person, you need an entrepreneur that how best to utilize the land, best to utilize the labor, like right person for the right job, and how best to utilize that capital so that you can manage your assets and liabilities efficiently and effectively, should be used to provide maximum benefit for all citizens, right? So that's why entrepreneurship is also included into the factors of production. These are the references that I used while making my slides. Thank you.